Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. Today I am getting on because I have literally got so much to give and talk about today, but I'm going to confine it to the topic of singleness and self-love in the age of counterfeit or false love. And I feel like this message is so timely, especially because this is quote unquote love week in so many ways. This is Valentine's week coming up on Friday. It's also Self-Love Day, which is one of my favorite days, on the 13th, which is Thursday. So friends, I'm getting on to talk all about singleness and self-love in the age, especially in this week of counterfeit and false love. So for those of you that are new to me, hello. My name is Brooke-Sidney. I'm a spiritual wellness coach and a soul story strategist. And basically what I do is I help people love themselves and the lives they are presently living. I specialize in speaking and helping and healing my single mamas out there, of which I am one. I believe in the elevated state or elevated name of indie mamas, and so I use that all the time. But I basically help people two ways: either spiritual wellness, which is healing, growing, elevating, and especially in our singleness and as single mamas, or I help people that know they've already done the healing or are using their writing to help them heal, and I help them share their stories through either ghostwriting, author coaching, editing, or even publishing consulting. So those are my main two gigs on how I help people, and if you're interested in more, I encourage you. Matter of fact, I invite you to speak with me further. I'll give all the links below. But today I wanted to get on and talk to you about singleness and self-love in this age of counterfeit and false love. And I feel like God gave me this message right now. And I'm like, I have to get it out, even though I just got back from Costa Rica. Hello, Stacy. Hello, you guys that are watching. I just got back from Costa Rica, but there's an urgency with the message that I'm giving today. And so I'm learning that when God speaks and I know that it's a message I'm supposed to give out, then I just go and I do what I'm supposed to do. So this message is really timely because if you don't know, this is quote unquote love week. This is the week that's all about love, right? And I'm going to get to that. This week we have the solely commercialized love holiday of Valentine's Day, which is on Friday, February 14th. But we also have a little lesser known holiday of Self-Love Day, which is the 13th of February. And then we can all expect, especially if we're in the United States, to be bombarded this week with tons of advertising and tons of commercials that are all about this romantic love, this philos love, this love that is, to be found in someone else and to be experienced in a human or physical way. We're going to see all things commercial. We're going to see roses and candy and even vacations and so forth, of which I just got back from one. But mine was a me and God retreat. So quite a bit different than I'd say the romantic ones that are going to be advertised. But then in addition to that, we're going to see I think a lot of storytelling, and as a storyteller and marketer, I know what that is like, but we're going to see a lot of storytelling that is going to paint a false picture, not only of what love is, but we're going to see storytelling that is designed to make you spend money so that you'll feel better about yourself. So I think that's one of the reasons why God is having me get on today and this week to really talk about some of these things. And it's all going to be designed to present a picture of love that A, has God removed from it, and B, is designed to get you to spend money, and 3 is it's just straight up counterfeit and false. So I wanted to get on and talk to you about 3 key points as you are, I feel like, honestly grappling with the things and some of the emotions that you might feel this week, because it can be heavy depending upon where you are in your walk for singleness or where you are in your walk with God. And I believe that those two are intertwined. I'll get to that. So the first thing that I'm going to invite you to do this week is to ask God, right, in your prayer time, in your quiet time, when you're reading the word or when you're in meditation, I want you to ask God to speak to you regarding your self-love and your singleness. And what do I mean by that? So, first of all, if you don't know, God is love, right? This is a love that most humans, unless they have a relationship with God, they don't truly understand nor can even fathom the level of love that God is, because that's actually who God is. God is love. And so most people actually don't even understand what that love is, how far it extends, the fact that it is unconditional, the fact that it is boundless, the fact that it existed before time. In fact, it existed before you. In fact, you were known and loved before you even were in the womb of your mother. Like, this is such an amazing love that until you experience God's love, you have no idea. I really even feel like I feel like almost the boundless levels of love. Most people are confined to humanly love, and at its best, I really feel like that can be exhibited through our parents. If you're lucky, if you're blessed with having amazing parents. Some of us weren't, if you heard part of my story. But I think that, like, if you have a relationship with God, that is from really the best point where we can really understand what love truly can be. And so when we're evaluating partners, I don't know why my phone is blowing up, but we're evaluating partners because they know they need to be listening to this message. When we're evaluating partners and when we're thinking about romantic love, I really believe that God's love should be at the center of it. Truly, God's love, a relationship with God, all of those beautiful things are the greatest examples of what God can truly be, right? And that is love. And then God calls us to love ourselves as we love our neighbors. And so that, to me, is outside of loving God, like loving yourself, knowing who you are, knowing who God created you to be, knowing your purpose on the planet, knowing your current assignment. And that's where understanding your singleness is so important to your current life and also what God has you to do, right? So the first key and the first thing that I'm encouraging you to do during this week of love and this age of false and counterfeit love, and I'm going to continue teaching. Hello, Quay. Hello, you guys that are popping on. I'm going to ask you and invite you rather, to ask God to speak to you specifically about your self-love, like how you're doing in self-love. Like, are you loving yourself? Are you even close to loving and seeing yourself the way that God sees you? And your relationship with God, like, are you hearing from God? Are you listening to God, right? Because they're two different things. Are you following God? And what all this means for your singleness season, right? What do you need to learn about yourself right now, about God, and about your singleness season? That is the first order. I feel like that is the first order, is to get the foundation squared up. Because in this week of false love, and I feel like counterfeit love being presented, you are going to be bombarded with images. And unless you are grounded in the truth, unless you are grounded in exactly what love is and a healthy form of love, because many of us did not receive it as kids, and many of us have not manifested relationships, hello somebody, that reflect God's love for us, because we didn't know. But now we have the opportunity to recast, and we have the opportunity to choose anew. But we don't want to get bombarded with these false and counterfeit pictures and images and relationships that are not of God and not for our best, right? And so this week, today, if you can, before you even turn on the next television, before you go onto the Instagram and you start seeing this Instagram ideal or this Facebook fantasy, ask God to reveal to you regarding your self-love and your singleness and your relationship as like point and key number one. Okay, that's number one. Number two, and it is a part of this, is that you want to understand be clear on where you are in this self-love and God or spiritual journey. And what I mean for that in your singleness. So all of us, or I wouldn't say all of us, but I say a lot of us know that we want to be in a relationship, right? We want to be in a relationship. So someone's saying, yeah, Quay's saying self-love is very important. We want to be in a relationship, right? And, we would love to have this romantic, like philos love. I mean, I really want agape, and that's what's like God loves, spiritual love. But we want these things, and it's natural to want these things. I believe that if God put the desires in your heart and you're single, the desire to have that great relationship, that it is for you, right? I have no reason to believe it. I believe that our desires come from God. But there's a difference between wanting that mate and needing that mate. There's a difference between knowing that you have a desire for relationship and then sitting around and truly yearning for a relationship. There's a difference between, studying and showing yourself approved so that you can actually yield and have an amazing relationship. I believe with a person that also has a relationship with God, but you're free to develop your own criteria, friends at home. But the whole point is that a lot of us end up placing marriage or relationship on an idol, and that's exactly what we don't want to do. So I have a really funny story. So I was dating a guy, and I had revealed to him that, God was really asking me to speak to single women and single mamas, like specifically, of which I am one, and of which I feel like I have a great testimony about loving myself and the life that I am presently living. And although I would love to have an amazing relationship, I would love to have an amazing man of God. That's not happening right now. Right now, God has me focused on him. I am in strong relationship with him. And I'm really, really good with that. Like, I'm really, really good with that. And my life is prospering, and I can see myself doing all the things that I'm being called to do right now. And this particular person that I was dating, he was like, well, why would a single person listen to you? Why would a single mama listen to you? And I was like, very good question. But here's your answer. I'm not solving for singleness, because get this, you guys, friends, singleness is not a problem. Singleness is not a problem. And I know that there are coaches out there today that want you to believe that you being single is the problem. No, you being single is not the problem. Here's what I help people do, and here's what God has shown me that I help people do, is that I help people who feel a sense of lack, who feel a sense of less than, who feel unworthy, who feel hurt, who are still carrying hurt, who are still carrying unhealed parts of them. I help them shed that with God's help so that they can have wholeness. They can have wholeness. My goal is not for you to necessarily marry anyone. My goal is for you to achieve the desires that God has placed in your heart, for you to have the purpose that is in your path for you to have. That is my goal for you. My goal for you is for you to go from you're here to you're there, whatever that looks like. But I personally do not believe that singleness is a problem that actually needs to be solved for. And I believe either does God, unless that is what we, if you're believing that it's a problem, then it's going to be a problem for you. Now, if you're believing that this is an amazing season that you can not only thrive, not only like survive, but thrive in it, right? That you can use this season of singleness to just, go all out for you, go all out for God, go all out for your purpose, go all out for your calling, your assignment, your goals, your dreams, the visions you're being given. Like, that is the amazingness of what singleness can and should be. And it might be because you're missing that point, the reason why you are still single, right? In every season of our lives, there's the opportunity, A, to always draw closer to God, and B, to learn something. So again, what do you need to learn? The points 1 and points 2 really focus around being clear on how well you're in relationship with God, how well you are hearing, listening, obeying, following, whatever that means to you. And then how well are you loving yourself? And then understanding, right, that if there are holes, if right now you're feeling depressed, especially because this is Valentine's week. This is the week where if you've got a romantic love trigger, if you've got a place in you that's still unhealed, if you've got unforgiveness, if you have abandonment issues, if you are not okay with being by yourself, this is the week where you're going to know. And if that happens, this is not a shame or anything game. This is all about acknowledging them, acknowledging where you are, and then seeking God with it, and then the help of trusted mentors and coaches and people that can get you from thinking your singleness is a problem, because it's not. And then number two, helping you to heal anything that needs to be healed so that you're not going to be triggered. And then three, moving you into a place of, which I truly love, a place of greater presence, both with yourself as well as God, a place of greater power. Okay. Power. That is true empowerment that comes from within, a place of greater peace, right? When we have the peace that surpasses everything, right? Who cares about singleness? You are good. Like, you're good wherever you are, whoever you're with, by yourself, with someone else, whatever it is, like, you're good, into greater purpose. Because once you have kind of settled in and start to love exactly where you are, you start to feel greater presence, you start to listen to God, understanding what you're called to do, guess what? You start walking into your purpose. And some of you, and I can even say I have fallen short on this one, we've allowed men, we've allowed counterfeits, we've allowed romantic love to distract us from the purpose things that we're being called to do right now. So maybe your single season is exactly what you need for you to prosper, which is the last thing, is prosperity, and that's inner and outer. So when we really understand where we are in our single season, if we're able to truly love ourselves right now, which is what I've been talking about for the past couple of years, then you will be able to feel that way: presence, power, purpose, peace, and prosperity. You'll be able to walk in them. And then the last third key that I want to talk about today is that if you're able to do these things, if you're able to do these last two things, asking God to speak to you about singleness and your self-love, and then being clear about where you are in this journey with those two, then you won't fall short on number three. And number three is that the enemy, whatever we know that to be, the ego, as well as our smaller selves, our inner me's, right? Our inner enemy will use your weaknesses right now. It will use these things against you, okay? So how can I explain that to make it even clearer? So guess what? As I was saying to you before, this is the week where we, as Americans, all of us get bombarded with this romantic love, this Valentine's Day, the fact that we're supposed to have cards and flowers and all these things that we're supposed to have. Now, granted, they're great to have, and I encourage you, ladies or fellas out there, get them for yourself. Like, if you really want them, don't be in lack. Get them for yourself. Go and do that. I mean, I think as evidence too for myself. Like, if there's something that I want for myself, I don't wait for someone to give it to me. I give it to myself. If I want flowers, I will give them to myself. If I want a card, if I want a trip, if I want this, I will do it for myself. And you can do it for you too. Pray about it. Seek God's information. Seek God's way. But the point is that don't allow the enemy, the ego, or your inner me to use your weaknesses this week against you. And I can tell you right now, if you are feeling abandoned, if you are feeling like your singleness is a problem, if you're feeling like somehow you have fallen short because your name is still Ms. and not Mrs., or the fact that you don't have that prized treasure on that left hand, this week you are a target. You are a target for the enemy. You're a target for your ego that thinks that you should be somewhere, and for the enemy that is using your weaknesses and your unhealed traumas and your wounds and your hurts against you. This is the week where you might be more susceptible to getting back into a bad relationship, a relationship that's not for you. This might be the week that you end up putting yourself back on a dating app that has nothing for you. And I'm not saying you can't be on them, but I'm just saying, like, maybe you have already learned that that may not be the best place for you to be right now in this season. This might be the week that you're more susceptible to that text or that phone call from that ex that you know is not God's best for you. This is the week where your weaknesses, right, your unhealed things are going to pop up, and they can be used against you. I think that's the reason why God has had me get on today, because I was like, I'm still, working on getting back into the groove from Costa Rica, and really just, a lot of my author clients' works that I have going on and so forth. But I wanted to get on because, for one, I kind of do what God says. I listen. And I know that this is important. We're in this week of all weeks of the year where I think the premium is put on this falsely painted picture of love. And yes, I know there are men out there that are, anti-Valentine's Day, and this is not even an anti-Valentine's Day conversation. This is more about an encouragement and an invitation for you to have the real love, for you to start with God first. And for you to put out your shield, put out your protection against this counterfeit and false love, and for you to truly use this season of singleness to your advantage. You guys, there is so much to be gained in this season where you can, quite honestly, just focus on yourself, focus on God. And if you're like me and you have a child, just your child. Because until you are married, until you are, I would say that's what your purpose should be. I think that's another conversation for another day about, giving husband privileges that people are not husband and so forth. But this is our opportunity to truly, become successful while we're single, to truly understand what God has for us and to start walking in it. It's for truly, like, if you have unhealed things that you need to work on, for you to begin working on them. This is your time more than any other time for you to focus on you. God wants you to be the best you. And I believe, right, for the women out there and for the men out there that are listening who do want a partner, of which I am one, I think that it allows you to understand, A, what love really is, and B, what it should look like. And then C, have the discernment to know what that is and know when it's counterfeit and when it's false and when the parts are not adding up. Okay? So maximize this season, maximize the time and the moment that you are in. And I believe love yourself presently. That's the soulful mindfulness piece that I teach. Love yourself and the life you are presently living. There are tools there. There are people there. God is there to help you right now in this season. And, I love to get on and, talk about messages that apply to everyone. But today I am specifically talking to my single friends and my single mamas that are gonna be some kind of way this week, that are gonna feel, I've already seen the post about, dreading this week. Don't dread it. Be in prayer. Expect God to answer. Expect for you to get downloads. Be journaling, be writing, be in meditation, and ask, what do I need to know right now? How do I become healed? How do I let go? How do I, how do I progress to my next level? And I feel like in those places, God, A, is going to meet you, but B, you're going to get tremendous revelation. And for the souls that know right now that they want help in this area and they want a single mama or a single person that knows that they can love the season they're in, I'm your person. If they want a person who knows that you can be single and successful, I'm your person. If you want a person who has been through divorce and come out, I feel like thriving on the other side, I'm your person. If you want a person who currently currently loves herself and is growing every day in that love, I'm your person. And if you're looking for someone who I feel like is sold out for God, I'm your person. I believe that this is the time of our lives, every single moment, to maximize, to grow in God, and to do all that we're called to be. And I feel it at an even greater level for those of us that are parents, because we have little ones looking at us. So in this week, it's so important for us to do our God-given best, to exhibit the best love that we can, to show what that is, to actually be that, to be someone's example of God on this earth as we're walking and being, and we're living it, especially with our little ones watching. So that's it. That's the Mind Soulful Monday, now on a Tuesday. That's all about singleness and self-love in the age of counterfeit and false love. The greatest compliment or the greatest tip is for you guys to share it, love this post or comment, and I will talk with you soon. Have an amazing week.